Hey guys, hope you're all having a great day. So in today's video, I'm going to be planting up a bed at my mom's house that is in a pretty shady location. It was one of them that we created this spring, and there's only one thing in it right now, so let's fill it up with some other stuff. So this bed is where we're going to be planting today. There's the garage right there. This is kind of the north side of the house, so it is quite shaded, especially because there is a honey locust tree right here. We have a limelight hydrangea tree in here, which actually has done very well in this area for it being so shaded, but this isn't going to start blooming until July or so. But that's the only thing that's planted in this bed. The bed comes out quite a ways this way, and then over here it's only about maybe 2 or 3 feet wide, but in this wheelbarrow right here are all the plants we're going to be putting in. So first of all, we have these 3 hostas. They're a variety called White Feather. You can see what that looks like right there. Really cool. I actually haven't seen a hosta like this before. However, they did get a little bit nipped by the cold. You can actually see this leaf right here because we did have a frost earlier this week. And I thought I had them in a protected location, but obviously it got colder than I thought. They are a little green too. Like even when I got them, they were pretty much this green. So I think maybe with age they get better. If anyone wants to correct me on that, definitely let me know. But I think having them in the ground is going to be better since they were nipped by the frost. I also have these ferns that I got from Home Depot, I think, back in like January or February. They are a Tennessee ostrich fern. There's 3 of them in here. And the packaging says they actually get 4 to 5 feet tall. And it says full or partial to full shade, so I think this is a good place for this. But they're a really nice, tall fern, and they are just bare root in this bag here. Right here, I have a type of perennial or hardy geranium. I think I wrote Geranium macarizum on there. I want to say they have either a pink or purple flower. I don't know for sure about these because I didn't actually see the main plants in flower. These I did through root propagation. So there's these 2 plants here, which geraniums are kind of like a nice ground cover for the shade, but they still get kind of tall. They're probably like maybe a foot or 2 tall. And then right here is a hellebore that one of my friends actually from one of my classes gave me, and I have 2 more hellebores I'm going to be transplanting. All right, so I talked about these hellebores in a different video, and I didn't end up transplanting them. This one actually looks really nice. And this one, it's leafing out for the season, but this one always seems to like die back over the winter. And I think the main reason why is that there is this downspout here, whatever you want to call it, which actually we need to fix. But I think that it gets way too wet here for the way that it just drowns down. So I think I want to move both of these hellebores today and just put them in that bed, and then I can put something that likes more water in this area. I think we're also going to do like a little rock thing here too. So those are going to be transplanted today, and I do know with hellebores they don't really love to be transplanted. I'm going to try my absolute best to not fuss with the roots too much, but just get the plant as a whole with the entire root ball, just kind of pick it up and then plop it where it needs to go in that area. One thing I wanted to mention before we get started is that we did do the sheet mulching method with this, so there's definitely a layer of cardboard. We're going to have to break through that cardboard, and we did put a lot of mulch here. So I actually might take away a little bit of mulch around the plants so they're not so buried, but this mulch is compacted quite a bit since we put it down. This is one of the earlier beds that we did sheet mulch, so I'm not as concerned about this compared to other ones. And then again, we're just going to amend with the topsoil and biotone. And that's part of the reason I'm adding the topsoil is actually just so there is more matter for them just to grow into, because I know some of these were digging right into where there was grass. Okay, so now that we know what we're doing, let's get started. Okay, so planting is all done. It looks at least a little bit better than it did before, so let's take a look. So first up are the ferns, which really don't look like anything because they were bare root, but just so I knew where each one of the ferns was, I kind of made like a little circle around here, and I'll keep an eye for those to pop up. The directions on the package mentioned to plant them 1 to 2 inches deep and then after any danger of frost. We did have a frost last week, which was kind of surprising. However, everything should be good at this point, and hopefully in the next few weeks or so, we'll see if they pop up. They were in their container for a few months really before I planted them, so I hope they didn't desiccate, but we'll just keep an eye and we'll see what happens. Over here are the 2 perennial geraniums. Now with each one of these, I wanted to make sure I didn't plant them too deep in the soil, so I did add some topsoil as well, but they're just at about the same level as where this mulch is. I think I briefly mentioned this before, but the geraniums end up getting maybe like 6 to 12 inches tall, and then they kind of just spread out as a ground cover, but generally each plant maybe is like 12 to 24 inches wide. These 3 hellebores are right here. This one is very small, so I'm hoping that it just stays alive for this summer, and then will grow a lot next year. This one looks great, so I hope that it takes the transplant pretty well, and then I hope that this one doesn't lose all of its leaves over the winter like it's been doing. And then the last thing are these 3 hostas, which I didn't mention before, but I have the tag right here. So they're called white feather. However, this specific variety ends up getting 8 inches tall and then 20 inches wide. So they're spaced probably a little less than 20 inches. I would say it's like anywhere between maybe like 12 to 18 inches or so. So they'll grow into each other just a little bit. Again, this one's looking a little sad, but I'm hoping as long as it stays alive for this summer, it'll come back a lot stronger next year. Now, I did notice that there was a lot of moisture in this area, which honestly is really good for things like hostas and ferns, and I think the geraniums will do pretty well. Hellebores, I hope they'll be okay in this area, but we did get like a couple of inches of rain yesterday. It rained super hard all day, all night, so I think that's why it was so wet back here. But I think by putting that layer of cardboard and a really thick layer of mulch, it does hold on to a lot more moisture. So I'm not gonna water these in today, and I'm just not gonna water them for a little while unless we really don't get rain for a while. This is pretty shady too, so I think this area is gonna hold on to a lot more moisture, but I'll just keep an eye on everything, and if something looks like it's wilting and it is really wet, I may have to lift it or add in some other soil like that maybe has a little more sand in it and it's just more well draining. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm excited to see these grow in. I'm happy I got them in a little bit earlier in the season so they weren't sitting in their pots for too long. But yeah, stay tuned to see how these fill in for the rest of the summer. Hopefully everything makes it. Hopefully those ferns come up. That's the biggest thing I'm kind of wondering at this point. But besides that, I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in the next one.